guys know that Josephine Baker was the richest black woman in the world? Did you guys know that North America used to be called Turtle Island?
You want to hear a story? Guess what? I read a story. I know a story. I got a story for you. So what you got to do is go on over to the monkey bar. Without, the night was cold. Hey, what up, Vibe Tribe? Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Lovely Vibes, and you are tuning into Lovely Vibes TV. All right, you guys, if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button right now, if you don't mind. Go ahead and join me. Come and can talk with me, you guys. I want to talk. Let's share information on what actually, you know what I do. I read books, or I read short stories, and I come and I share them with you guys. So I would love for you guys to stick around and share with me. All right. So don't forget to hit that notification bell as well, so you'll know each and every time I post, and leave comments down below. Keep it real, but keep it really respectful, really respectful. But let's talk about this story. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I wish I could hug you. I'm giving you guys a hug. All right, welcome back, you guys. Thank you for rocking with me, sticking with me, vibing with me. Thank you. Stay tuned. We have plenty coming up for our subscribers. All right. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well, you guys, if you have not yet done that, to remind you when I pop back up, when I'm popping. But all right, you guys. So we're going to get into this story. All right, you guys. So this story is called The Most Dangerous Games. The Most Dangerous Game. I know, right? When I read the story, it is dangerous. Yes. And you're about to find out why. Okay, you guys. So it starts off where two people on a boat, one named Whitney, the other named Ransford. Anyway, Whitney is like, yeah, over off to the right, there's an island over there that is really mysterious and, creepy, and sailors speak of it, and they're really scared of this island. And so Ransford is like, nah, whatever, what island? He's trying to look out there and see. He's like, what island? Where? So he's trying to see, but it's so black out there on the water. And this night it was extremely black. Like it was described as black velvet, being like black velvet. So he's trying to see this island through this blackness. And so Whitney is like, chuckles a little and was like, hey, I know you to be able to shoot an animal from 400 yards away. You couldn't even do or be able to shoot an animal from 4 miles away. You wouldn't be able to do 400 yards away right now, So Ransford, he's like, not even 4 feet ahead of me. And he was like, it's so black out here. It's so pitch black, he still can't see. So Whitney goes on a little bit about the story and how everybody's afraid of this island, like that comes whenever they go past it is an eerie feeling. And how the captain has even mentioned to him, or the captain has even mentioned when he talked to the captain, which they both agreed that the captain is a really mean guy, and he's so mean that he will walk up to the devil himself and speak to the devil. That's how they described him, Captain Nielsen. So, but Whitney is saying when the captain told him this story, because he's like, let me tell you something. He mentioned, don't you feel a strange energy when we pass by here? Don't you feel it in the air? And so Whitney was like, don't laugh at me, Ransford, but I really did feel something in the air. Ransford's like, whatever, and he needs to get on with that story. He needs to get on with his feeling, because he's going to have all the sailors, or get all that energy, bad energy and juju into the group, and have people all scared. So they changed the subject. Whitney is like, I hope that our equipment is there for the jaguar hunt, because they're both big gamers. They're both game hunters. So they're on their way to like somewhere like Rio de Janeiro or whatever. They're supposed to go hunt jaguars. They're going somewhere. So as Whitney is saying this, Ransford is like, did we pass that island yet? It's so black they don't know. So they just continue on with I hope the equipment is there. So Ransford is like, basically like, don't worry about it. It's going to be there. I'm going to get these animals and do what I do best, So Whitney starts, making comments about hunting and how the animals possibly feel. And so Ransford is like, they don't feel nothing. They don't feel nothing at all. I'm not worried about, all they got is instinct, and, I'm going to kill them. That's what I do. So Whitney is like, oh, for you is, that's something that's easy, or it's something easy to do or whatever, but not for the animals. I would like to think that they know fear and they fear death, So Ransford's like, whatever. You a gamer, dude. Like, you a game hunting person. You need to chill out. So Whitney is like, okay, well, I'm tired. I'm going to go tune in to sleep. I'm going to go ahead and go downstairs and go to sleep. I'm tired. I'm sitting downstairs, go down to the deck. I don't know, whatever they do on boats. Whitney was ready to go to sleep and go to his quarter. So he goes, so Whitney goes to bed, and Ransford is by himself, because Ransford told Whitney, well, I'm not tired. I'm going to hang out here for a while. Ransford is by himself now on the deck, all by himself. He lights him a pipe, and he starts smoking his pipe. While he's smoking his pipe, he's smoking it like lazy or whatever, but he hears like a shot come over from the right, so he runs over there to hear like him, to make sure he's not tripping. So he's like, I know I just heard a shot. He hears it again, so he leans a little further because he wants to hear it. And once he hears it, his pipe falls, and he lunges for his pipe, and then this idiot falls in the water. Okay, let me not call him an idiot. Ransford reached for his pipe and fell in the water. And on his way down, he did scream, but the scream was muffled by the quick splash in the water, the quick crash into the water, or whatever you call it. So now he comes back up, and when he comes back up, he wants to scream so somebody on the boat possibly can hear him. He wants to scream again, but the water is being kicked back by the engine or propellers or whatever, and it's being kicked back in his face and into his mouth and his nose, so he can't scream or anything, but he starts going after the boat. He tries to swim after the boat, and he eventually realizes he's using so much energy, and he don't need to use all his energy, because there's a possibility nobody's going to hear him on his boat and turn around, and he needs to preserve his energy. So he just watched the boat, because he did continue to try to yell a little more, but the boat ended up fading out into the darkness. The lights disappeared on the boat. It turned black. Now he's just in this open water all by himself, because he was reaching for his pipe, y'all. Accidents happen, right? So anyway, he realizes, okay, while he's in this water, he's like, man, you know what? I did hear some shots come over from the right, so I'm going to swim towards those shots. So he starts swimming at like a nice pace to try to preserve himself. And it takes him a little while. He takes a little break, then he goes again. He finally reaches shore. He's so happy. When he reaches shore, like, he can't even stand. He has to pull himself on shore by digging his hands into the sand and pulling himself onto the shore. He's so tired. He doesn't care what's there. He doesn't know yet. He doesn't care. He's not thinking about that. All he knows is he is free from his enemy, the sea. He has made it from the sea, and he's exhausted, and he just wants to rest. He'll worry about whatever else later. Boom, he falls asleep. Ransford is knocked out cause from all this swimming. He's so tired that the next day when it comes around, it's like the afternoon time. He was really asleep. So now he wakes up to his demise of, oh my gosh, where am I? And he also realizes, okay, I heard shots on this island. So where there's shots, there's people. And where there's people, there's food. So he's like, oh my gosh, okay, I got to go on a journey now, because his stomach, he was so hungry from all that swimming and, after sleeping. So he goes and he's like, all right, he starts following the shore, because he notices there's no trails among the shrubbery or the forestry. There's no trail. So you can only walk on the shores. So he walked on the shore, and he was walking for a nice minute. He finally comes across the part that he believes where the shot must have came from, because it was blood. There was a lot of blood. And he was like, whatever was killed here was big. So whatever it was big. And so he's like, okay, well, And then he looks down and finds a 22 caliber bullet casing. So he looks at this casing and he's like, this is an interesting choice of a gun for something that was big in his mind that somebody had got that was supposedly a big animal. So he didn't, he's steady, just like, just thinking about the 22 casing, just being peculiar to him. So he's like, all right, it's just peculiar. All right. So he continues walking and walking and walking. And it's starting to get dark again. So he's like, crap, I haven't found nobody yet. It's getting dark again already. I'm tired. Then off in the distance, he sees some lights. And he's like, there's some lights over there. So he goes towards these lights. When he gets to the lights, it's a chateau, it's by itself. It's a building by itself in the middle of nowhere. He's looking around and he has a gargoyle for a knocker to knock on the door. And he's already thinking, this is strange. This is weird. This place is the only place with lights, the only place that's actually around, and got lights up in here, And it's nighttime by the time he reaches this door. So he takes the knocker, the gargoyle knocker, that is very stiff because it seems like nobody comes there, and he knocks on the door. Nobody comes, so he's like, So he knocks on it again. He uses the knocker. Nobody comes. But he can swear that he hears someone in there. So he's like, so he tries it again. He knocks. This time the door opens. And when it opens, it's a big shotgun pointed right in his face. And he's like, oh my gosh. But anyway, he smiles anyway. Ransford smiles anyway and got both his hands up don't shoot. And he's like explaining his story. I fell off a boat. I got lost and I'm hungry and I'm trying to find my way around. The guy who's holding the gun, not paying him no attention. He don't care. He didn't care. He still got the gun. He's like, I'm gonna blast your face off. I don't care. Who is this dude? So Ransford repeats himself again because he's like, this guy is not answering me and he's just staring at me. And so the guy goes back to pull the hammer, to release the hammer or whatever, so he don't shoot him. And he stands at attention really quick, like he stands at attention or however they do where he's from. And a man comes down the stairs, a man with white hair, black eyebrows though, and a black mustache. And he comes down and he's like, excuse my doorman, or excuse Ivan. Ivan was the giant, because the guy who opened the door, I forgot to tell you, he's a giant. He's a giant man. So the guy coming down the stairs who is talking about the giant and excuse the giant, he's the tall man himself, but he's not a giant like Ivan. So he said, excuse Ivan, he's deaf and dumb. That's how he has said it. That's ignorant, but that's what he said. He said he's deaf and dumb. And so he starts signing to him or whatever. And once he signs to him, then Ivan goes off to do whatever he told him to do. And the general starts, he's like, welcome to my home. And he's listening to what had happened, So he's like, I fell off a boat. Ransford is going on. I fell off a boat. This had happened. When he said his name, the general knows who he is. He's like, oh, you are a game hunter, right? You're a big time game hunter. He's like, yeah. He said, you know what? I was finna eat dinner, but I will wait for you. So follow Ivan, and some of my clothes should fit you. You should find it, appeasing. And I'll wait for you at the dinner. Ransford follows the giant to this room, through this beautiful house. So the guy has like animal heads everywhere and just trophies everywhere. So while he's following him following Ivan to this room, but he's really like, man, this is a beautiful home. Everything was beautiful. So some of the clothes did fit, and he's like, ooh. And so then he goes to the dining hall, and he's in the dining hall with the general, where the general is waiting, sitting at the end of this table that can fit large groups of guys. Like it can fit a large group of people, but it's just them two at this table, because obviously Ivan, I don't know if he eats in the kitchen, I don't know what he do, but he works for the general. So the general, he had introduced himself at the door as General Zaroff. Okay. So now they're at the dinner table. So when they're at the dinner table, he starts talking to Ransford and explaining to him how he reads his book. He read his book about how to hunt a snow leopard. I've read your books on how to hunt a snow leopard, you know, and he's just like, you're a real big timer. You're really good at what you do. You know, he's just giving him all this praise. So then the general goes on to explain who he is and how much he loves hunting. Like he loves to hunt. Hunting has been his life, right? He got his first gun when he was 5. His father got it for him. And then when he shot up his father's prize turkeys, he said, my father didn't even get mad. You know, he congratulated him. And then at the age of 13, he got like another gun. So he goes, and so once he's telling him this story, and then he tells him a little about who he is, because because Ransford was wondering, hey, who is this guy? He seems important. From the moment he came down the steps, he's like, he just got an important demeanor about him, like he's somebody, you know. So the general at the table goes on to explain to him how he used to be part of the Cossack, and how Ivan also was a part of the Cossack. And when things hit the fan in Russia, back when things hit the fan, they left, the Cossacks left or whatever. And he used to be a general of a certain division of it, you know, hence the name General Zaroff. So he once he explained that, and he was like, when I came back from that, I just kept hunting, you know. He's like, I bought this island, and the island is really large island. He bought the island. He had stuff brought in from everywhere to have the chateau he was staying in built. And you know, he was like, I have to bring everything over. Everything is imported here. So he's like, excuse if some things taste a little old or whatever, you know. So he asked him about some dusty wine, because the wine was so old over there. And he asked him, was it good? Which we all know, the older it is, yeah, it's good. So Ransford tell him it's good or whatever. So he goes on telling Ransford more. And he's like, yeah, so I used to hunt. I love hunting, and hunting has been my life since I was a kid. And even after coming back from the war, you know, I went back to hunting. So then Ransford is just like, oh, you know, telling him about all the heads he got and how the game looked, you know, like, oh, congratulating him on the heads he collected, and he looks like he's a good hunter and stuff. So, but while Ransford is talking, Ransford's been noticing the entire time that the general has been staring at him in a weird way, or looking at him in a weird way, up and down, as if he's studying him, or if he's evaluating him. Like, he just looking him up and down. It's just weird, and he just kept on doing this weird smirk. So the general tells him, after Ransford finished speaking, yeah, okay, so I got really tired of hunting. Like, I got really bored. It was really boring, and hunting is my life. So when it got boring, I was like, what am I going to do? You know, he started explaining how he heard of men in America, or the people in America, how they what did he say? How people in America, once they give up their business, or the business that they've known all their life, they go mad, they go crazy. So he was like, and I wasn't intended on going crazy. So I'm bored of what I loved most in life. So I created something else, a new big game, you know. And he's like, so Ransford like, what you did? He's like, yeah, I invented my own animal. And Ransford like, no, you did not. You invented an animal? How? You invented your own animal? And then so the general starts chuckling a little bit. Yeah. And he starts explaining about what he does and how he get these animals. So, but during this talk, Ransford is like, this is sounding a little weird. I know this dude is not talking about humans. That's what he's thinking. He's like, as the general's talking, he's like, So after some time, he tells the general, I know you're not talking about what I think you're talking about. So the general laughed. He's like, and Ransford like, that's murder. That's murder. So the general got a little mad real quick, but it went away real fast. His smirk came back. And he was like, no, he's explaining to him how it's not murder, because he feel like he's killing the scum of the earth. He feel like he's killing, but you know what I mean? That some people are their own, or become vigilantes, and vigilantes, and they definitely don't even have the mind to be thinking they should even try that. Like, who are you to tell somebody they right, wrong, or whatever, you know? And who are you? So anyway, So the general, he's just saying, oh yeah, these are scum of the earth. These people, I'm getting this, that, and the other. And he also, the general is racist. So he has all kind of races that he is using as his hunting props. All right. So he got all these humans he's using as these hunting props of different colors. Okay. Because he was also racist and saying he getting rid of those certain races, and he also getting rid of just bad people and dumb sailors. Who he's talking about how the sailors are so dumb when they crash on the shore, they don't even go into the forestry and that's why he loves sailors when they crash there, because they used to the sea. They don't hardly be on land, so they kind of scared to go in the forest, or they just not used to it. So while he's talking like this, Ransford's just looking at this dude like, you're bat crazy, dude. So he's just looking, and so the general goes on to say how it's a fair game and he needs to meet these people. He tells Ransford, you need to meet some of them. So I got some downstairs, and it's actually fair. He give him a knife, some food, and some clothing, some hunting clothing. And he give him a 3-hour head start. And then so Ransford is like, what if they don't want to hunt? What if they don't want to play that game? And so the general was like, oh, they don't have to play. They don't got to play. I just simply hand them over to Ivan if they don't want to play. Now, Ivan was known as the best knotter in the Cossack division, so it's like, oh, crap. So, you dang if you do, dang if you don't. It don't matter. Ivan or get hunting. What would I do? I think right there I would have probably tried to get General Zaroff with a fork or something in that moment, because, wow. I got time to run and hide from Ivan in that big house, and then also get Ivan so I can get out of here, and then, cause baby, I don't hunting. What? Hunting humans? Are y'all crazy? I'm doing the world a favor. Y'all gotta go. No, I mean, anyway, I know, right? I'm acting like I'm G.I. Jane or somebody. But anyway, so the general is like, so he explained they don't have to play. I'll hand them over to Ivan. So Ransford is looking like, okay. And he's like used the word murder one more time or again. And the general kind of got a little upset. And then so he's like, so Ransford asked him, may I ask, how are you getting these people? How do you, you on this island by yourself? How you even getting these people? So the general's like, follow me to the window. So he takes Ransford to the window. He takes Ransford to the window, and Ransford looks out, and it's a long drop, because the chateau is sitting on the shore, but it's also kind of, I don't know if y'all seen Game of Thrones, and that one castle that's along the shore is a whole bunch of jagged rocks and stuff, but then way up, then the building starts. So that's how this is described. So he looks out, he can't see below, because so obviously the sea it's pitch black, like the darkness reflecting only a little bit of light off of it. So he doesn't see anything. Then all of a sudden the general hits a button. When he hits this button, Ransford looks out and he sees a light, and far out the light just lights up and lights up the area, and then he sees that it's all these jagged rocks and big boulders. And so the general is explaining how this island is called Shipwreck Island. What Whitney had told him on the boat, remember? It can eat up a ship or eat up a boat like that, like it's nothing. So Ransford was like, oh, this guy is really lost in the brain. So he's like, oh, okay. And then so he was like, what do they get if they win? Because they have 3 days to if they elude him for 3 days, then they supposedly supposed to win this game. So he was like, oh, I'll let him go. And he was like, but sometimes I have to use my hounds. And he's like, hounds? So he takes him to another window. And then he looks down below. Ransford looks down below. He doesn't see anything but glowing green eyes, because he's like, well, what's down there? And then he finally makes out the figures. It's like a dozen hounds out there. And they're all looking at him like, yeah, we're going to eat you. And he's just looking like, oh, my gosh. So the general's like, yeah, they're released at 7 o'clock every day to eat and feed and, whatever. And so he said, anybody try to come up to my place as if like he got neighbors or something, they'll get ate up or messed up by these dogs. Like, okay. So then he tells Ransford that he wants him to follow him and to show him another room. And, you know, he's also been telling Ransford how he'll see how everything is when he goes hunting with him. And Ransford was like, at first he was fine with the hunting until he found out it's human. So, like, he's uneasy and he's like, so the general wants Ransford to go to another room with him. So Ransford's like, I'm sorry, General, I'm really tired. I'm really tired from walking, the swimming yesterday and trying to, you know, and being hungry as long as I really want to retire. So the general looks at him. Okay. Too bad you can't go with me tonight or whatever, but, you know, you have a good night's rest. So the guy, Ransford, is like, okay. Turns around, right? And he goes to the room that was prepared for him. So when he's in his room, he can barely sleep. He can't sleep hardly because he just got this crazy psycho on his mind. Like, this dude is hunting human beings, man. What's wrong with this guy? I got to get out of here, you know. He can hardly sleep. He hears a sound outside of his room, so he gets up to go check out the sound, but he can't open his door. So he's locked in his room. He can't open the door. So he goes back to the bed. As soon as he starts falling asleep, it's morning. And mind you, I didn't tell you guys that General Zaroff, who tried to take him to the next room, he also told him, too bad you can't go out with me tonight to hunt. He had special race of a person, like, so, but anyway, so he goes and, Ransford, he wakes up the next morning from not going to sleep. So he basically did this, was back up, closed his eyes and opened them back up. And the general wasn't there because Ransford went down for breakfast. The general wasn't there yet. Now, the general didn't show up till noon. But remember, he likes to hunt at night. So he was just hunting last night. His special person. So he's mad. So when he telling the story, you know, he's not mad at Ransford, but he's just like upset about last night. He's like, oh man, it's a good thing you didn't go. You missed it. The hunt sucked because the person sucked. The dude didn't even, he made it easy. He was running straight. He didn't even try to make any type of trails. He just ran straight, made it easy to get. He said, I'm starting to get scared that I'm getting bored of this too, and I don't want to go mad. Like, basically, so now he's getting bored of humans because he felt like that was too easy. Remember, he was thinking that he got bored of hunting animals because it became too easy for him. So as he's explaining, this guy who was easy to hunt down last night and kill, Ransford is looking at him like, this guy's psycho. So Ransford said, I'm sorry, General Zaroff, but I want to go home. I need to go home, and I want to go home today. So the general's like, why? You just got here. You want to go home? He's like, no, I want to go home. He's like, but, you know, we didn't even do this yet. He's like, I got to go home now. So the general's like, okay, well, we'll go hunting, and after that, and he's like, no, General, I don't want to hunt. I want to go home. I need to go home. So the general's like, okay, well, I guess you got to deal with Ivan. So Ransford is like, what? Like, so I have to do that. He's like, well, you know, if you don't choose to hunt, you know, basically like, you know, I told you yesterday. So Ransford is like, oh my gosh, all right, I'm gonna go hunting. So he was like, so the general was like, great, I haven't got everything you need, just go over there, and I suggest you wear moccasins because moccasins are harder to trace. They're really hard to trace. So Ransford gets all this stuff. He gets his knife, he gets his pack of food, and he gets his moccasins. And he is like, this dude is crazy. He starts hauling butt out of there because the guy is like, go ahead, I'm going to go take my 3-hour nap. Because remember, they get a 3-hour head start. So the general went to take his nap. So Ivan, he busts out of the gate, out of the house, out of the gate and everything. And he's booking it because he's like, man, this dude is crazy. I got to get away from him. So he's on this island. He's going, at first he's going straight himself. So he's just like, and after a while he starts thinking because he calms down because was already in panic mode because he's being hunted by a psycho with his own island, right? So he calms down, calms himself. It's like, okay, I got to think straight. He said, if this dude want to hunt, I'm going to give him a hunt. So he breaks off into the forestry and does something he calls the fox trap or the fox trail, or So which were, I believe, foxes. They will keep running around and backtracking and running to confuse whoever is trying to follow them. So he uses this tactic. Obviously, he's a gaming hunter. He's a hunter, so he's learned quite a few tricks from hunting. So he goes walking all day. And now, mind you, the general told him to stay away from the southeast side of the island because there's quicksand over there. He told him a story. There's a quicksand. It was one guy got chased, and he took out one of my beloved dogs because my dog chased him in there. So he was like, be careful, or basically my hunting game won't be fun because you will be in the quicksand. So anyway, so the Ransford is going in circles. He's going in circles, and he's creating fox trap, mind trick type things. He's just retracing his steps, going back and forth. Then he finally gets so tired. He goes to, he finds a tree to climb up without leaving any kind of marks because he didn't want this general to find him. So he carefully climbs this tree, and he gets on one of the branches, and he lays down, one of the wide branches, and he lays down because he's so tired. But yet, he still can't sleep. I know this dude is tired because you had to swim, but you got to sleep that first day when you got to shore, but you just didn't know if it was safe. Then you couldn't sleep the second day because the psycho just spooked the crap out of you. Now having a hard time sleeping because the psycho is still chasing you and only gave you 3-hour head start. So, but in his mind, he was like, nobody should be able to follow their trail because it's a fox trail. So he's relaxing in his tree, trying to catch him, his wind. He wished he could catch him some Z's, but he can't. He was trying, but he couldn't. So after some time, when it's like dawn is approaching, he hears some noise, and he was like, no, it can't be. I know. And coming closer and closer, and it sounded like sticks are breaking, like a person is coming. So he's like, I know this dude did not find me. This is crazy. No, he didn't find me. And then, sure enough, the general emerges. So when the general emerges, he's like looking around with his pipe. He's like looking around, and he bends down. He's messing with branches, and he's messing with twigs, stuff to see what's snapped off because he's hunting. And so Ransford's in the tree. He tries to, cower down a little bit because he's like, oh my gosh, this dude really did, find me. Like, this dude must be really good. So then the general walks up to the tree and stops right under the tree, blows a puff of smoke while he's looking up slowly. He's looking up the tree slowly, you guys. Like, Ransford tucks himself in even more in the branch because he's like, oh my gosh, he finna see me. Right before he gets to the branch that Ransford's on, the general stops. And that's when he blows some more smoke, and the smoke goes up to Ransford, but Ransford holds his breath. So the general, he smirks. Then he walks back off the direction he came. Ransford's looking like, and he comes down out of the tree. And he's like, how could this guy find me? Like, nah, there's no way. So he takes off running. He goes like 300 feet. He didn't go too far. So once he goes like 300 feet, he's like really trying to think, how did this guy find me? He's like, he is really good. And another thing that scared Ransford was the fact that he believed that this man knew he was in that tree. He was like, he knew I was in that tree. Why would he act like he didn't see me or stop right where he was finna see me and turn back? Then he realized that this dude was playing a cat and he the mouse. So he's just playing with him. So he's like, oh my gosh. So he's only like 300 feet away from where he was just at. And so while he's chilling there at another tree or whatever, this is later on in that night, the general comes back. And so when the general comes back sometime that night, he's walking through the branches or whatever. Now, it wasn't sometime that night, I'm sorry. So when the general comes back, it's almost like it's in the morning time, but it's not dawn yet. So it's like super early in the morning, like maybe 3, 4, or 5, I don't know, in the morning. So the general is coming back. And so that's when this guy is like, oh my goodness, like, I cannot shake this dude. How he keep finding me, and even though he's only 300 feet away from where that last tree was at. I guess he was just really too tired to go on. So when he sees the general coming, because he obviously know the general is coming, he takes a loose branch, and he bends the branch back on the tree far enough to be able to, swing forward. And he tied something pointy to it. It wasn't his knife, but he tied something to it, right? It could have been his knife. I think it might have been his knife. But he ties something to it and ties the branch back. And then he ran off, So he set this trap. And when he runs off, he go and hide behind, like he only went like 100 feet. And he hid behind something. So the general is coming and he's getting closer to that spot. Then you hear it go off. The general foot hits the trap that starts it, or hits the thing that starts it. So when the branch comes at the general, Ransford is shocked because he's like, this man moves so fast. He's like, he moves so fast out of the way. It missed the general. It got him a little bit though, but it was the way that it was supposed to work. The way that Ransford set it up, he was supposed to, like, a piece of the tree was supposed to fall on him or something, which it did fall, but it didn't pin down the general, and it only like cut the general some kind of way, this trap or whatever. So the general starts laughing, and the general starts speaking out loud like, Ransford, if you are within the vicinity of my voice like I think that you are, that was a well-made trap. He's like, not many people can get me. And whatever the trap was, it was something that Ransford learned in Africa. So he's like, not many people can get me. He was like, well done. He said, I'm going to go get my wounds dressed, and I shall surely be back. And he left. The general left. And then Ransford's like, God dang. Ransford is just like, oh my gosh, he's tired. So he starts running because he's like, this general, he is injured, and all he talking about doing is going, hey, I'm gonna go get patched up and then I'll be back to look for you. So Ransford, he's running. Then he runs into quicksand. He almost messed himself up in this quicksand, you guys. He got both his feet stuck in it. It took a lot to get himself out. So he finally pulls himself out of this quicksand. And he's looking like, dang. All right. Then he came up with an idea from another tactic he learned from hunting in another country. So he backs only a few feet away from the quicksand, and he starts digging and digging and digging. He digs until it gets to his shoulders, right? So once it gets to his shoulders, he jumps out of this hole. Then he takes some sticks and twigs and he sharpens them to a point, and he puts them in there, right? Puts it in the pit. So once he puts it in the pit, then he starts weaving leaves together and branches, whatever they make rope out of. I know what it looks like. But he starts weaving it, right? Then he weaved like a little blanket. So he puts the blanket over the pit, so you can't see the pit, obviously. And then he goes and lays down behind the log because he's tired, right? He's really tired. And so then here he comes. Dawn breaks again. So here comes the general. He's coming again. Ransford hears it, and he's like, oh my gosh. He shimmies up a tree really quick so he can see what's coming. When he looks, he sees the general, and he sees Ivan, though, with the general. But Ivan looked like he's being pulled. So Ransford thinks he's being pulled by those dogs. So they come in with the hounds and the giant, right? So Ransford like, man, I'm tired of this. So he goes and he's hiding behind this log or whatever. And sure enough, here they come. Then he hears a screech or scream. And so Ransford is happy, like, yes, like I got him. He gets up and looks, and he noticed that Ivan is the one that's down. Ivan is gone. He took Ivan out. Ivan ain't not there no more. So the general is still there with the dogs, and he like looking like, oh, okay, he took out Ivan. So Ransford's like, dang, man, I still can't get rid of this dude. So Ransford takes back off running while the general is steady using his hound to find Ransford after seeing Ivan get killed. So ends up running to a cliff. When he gets to the cliff, it's nowhere else to go besides either back the way he came or along the shores where he'll be seen. And the cliff is like a 20-foot, 30-foot drop into the water. And he's looking down like, oh my gosh. But he decides to do it, and he jumps. He's gone. I'm not going to even lie, y'all. I would have went on ahead and jumped too. Like, forget it. I'd rather jump and hope and pray that I can make it in this water without harming myself, because if you jump from too high, everybody know it'll be like hitting the ground, So anyway, he jumps in. So now the general, he gets to the ledge, but the scent runs out for the animal, for the dog, obviously, because what's his name jumped off the cliff. So the general's looking around like, where could he have gone? You know, like, this dude straight eluded me. He got away for the moment, you know. So the general's a little puzzled, and he starts going back to his home because he's obviously, you know, hungry and a little defeated because he's trying to figure out where is this guy Ransford, or did he jump? Did he fall to his death? You know, so when he get back to his house, he's worried about how will he replace Ivan. I know, right? How he gonna replace him? Not mourning Ivan, y'all. He's worried how is he going to replace Ivan. So, and then feeding his dogs, and I said two things. So he's worried about Ransford. He's worried about Ivan, and he's worried about losing this hunt because he never lost. He always wins. He never loses. So, and it's still time because it's not dawn yet on his third day. So then he starts thinking, okay, I got to feed these dogs. So he's getting ready to prepare the food. He didn't prepare yet. He's getting ready. But he goes up to his room, I guess, to look out the window because he's like, I guess he wants to look and see if he could see which way Ransford went, or if he could see Ransford from there. So he goes to his room, to the window or whatever. But then he notices somebody, a silhouette is in his bed or near his bed, standing near his bed. So he's like, he jumped back, he turned around. Who is it? Ransford. Ransford is in his room. So the general jumps and he's like, Ransford, how did you get here? You know? So Ransford is looking at him like, I swam. And so the general was just looking like, dang, this guy survived that jump, man, you know, and he swam. And so he was like, bravo, well done, Ransford, well done. You know, you've eluded me. But it's still not dawn, y'all. So Ransford looks at him and it's like, no, I'm still, basically he tells him, no, I'm still an animal in this game. You know, so I was like, ooh, he finna get the general. That's what I was thinking, you know. So the general tells him, well done, Ivan. So, okay, I see how it is. On guard. And he said, the general tells him, one of us will be preparing the food for the dogs tonight, and the other will be sleeping peacefully in this bed. And then the book ends that Ransford had never slept better in his life. It was the best sleep of his life. That's how it ends. Like, I'm like, creating alternate endings. You guys help me with this. I'm like, I mean, I get it, but still, I would like a better ending. Like, I feel like, you know, so what is the general gonna be the new Ivan, and now Ransford is a monster and he's gonna be doing what the general was doing because he's sleeping in the bed peacefully? Or did Ransford kill the general? Because he certainly sound like he deserved to not be here, because you don't need to be doing that on the earth. I mean, come on now. You even on freaking Planet of the Apes, Caesar like, ape don't kill ape. Ape don't kill ape. Like, what? When no humans don't get it, they be like, oh, you brown, you black, you yellow, you red, you whatever, you orange, you blue. And that's why I hate you. Like, literally dumb stuff. Shoot, Caesar was like, ape don't kill ape. Only reason why he killed Boba, was his name Boba? Only reason why he killed Boba is because he had to kill Boba, because Boba was crazy. And he was causing problems for everybody, including himself, and bringing down too much heat on the rest of them. But anyway, this is about the dangerous game. You know, I just had to tie that in there. The Planet that day, ape didn't hurt ape. But anyway, so I need help with this ending because I really like the story. The story is really interesting, but the ending just got me making all kind of alternative endings and stuff like, nah, Ransford needs to do something, and this needs to be said. All right, so you guys, let me know. What was your favorite part of the story? All right. Remember, it is called The Most Dangerous Game. And it was published by a guy named Richard Connell back in 1924. All right. So you can go read a little bit more on it if you like, but come back here and let's talk about it. Or pretty much the story or what I just told you guys is the gist of the story of what happened. What was your favorite part? What would you have done if you were Ransford? What would you have done if you was Ivan? Would you actually be Ivan? Would you want to be the person that's just like, oh yeah, I'll help you murder people on this island? Like, nah. What would you do How would you hide? I could tell you one thing. I definitely wouldn't have fell off the boat in the first freaking place. Not for no pipe. That pipe is gone. I wouldn't have fell in, but yeah, I would have been trying to get the general that first day. Soon as he had start telling me that, I would have been looking at him and I've been like, okay, how can I get these two? Even if I know the odds are against me. Like, well, today is that. Shoot, I don't know. Maybe I would have went downstairs to the other dozen men when he had offered. But then again, he might have trapped them. I don't know if he got them other men trapped. They got to be locked in because they locked him in his room. But I would have tried to go down there and be like, talking with them like, hey, y'all, we need to escape. I know he told y'all the same thing because y'all here. We got to get out of here. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story. Let me know your favorite part and what you would have done if you was whichever character, okay? And let me know what type of ending were you guys thinking of, or what do you think? Because I think it's a great story. I just think it just needs a little bit a better ending. This is something that's reminding me of like, I don't know, like a Spike Lee movie. Remember that movie where all them telephones was falling out the sky? That had me confused. I watched it a few times, though, too, because I definitely give a lot of chances. I want to watch and I want to get an understanding. I understood it a little more each time, but still in the end, I still was like, all right. But anyway, I like this story. But anyway, you guys, thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for my returning subscribers that are sticking around and hanging with me. And I hope to see you all on the next video. And I hope you all hit that notification bell so you'll know when I have that next video posted up. But I hope you guys have a beautiful day, a wonderful week. All right, you guys. Thank you for spending time with me. Come back and let's talk about it. And remember, love, peace, and vibes. I'm out.